Hello, my friend. Are you ready? Do you want to be a pirate? No? Okay. But you might be interested in learning Fusion. My name is Vito. Most Fusioners out there know me, but DaVinci users probably don't know me at all. And I thought it's time to change that. My mission is to make Fusion great again. You were probably thinking of Trump now, didn't you? Now, Fusion is a very sophisticated, highly technical, but super creative tool. Maybe you have seen some of my tutorials. They're a little bit advanced, and as a DaVinci user, you probably don't want to go there. Yeah, you don't want to go there. It's crazy. It's crazy action going on there. But I thought since the integration of Fusion in DaVinci, many of you guys are excited. Some are not, I know. But many of you are excited, and you're probably wondering what you can do with Fusion and how it can enhance your workflow or how you can streamline your whole process. Especially if you're a one-man show, might be the thing. So I'd say if you're ready to embark with me on this journey, I think I have to go back. I don't have a focus assistant here. If you're ready to embark with me on this journey, hop in. Okay, so today I want to introduce you to the merge tool. The merge tool is a tool that allows you to combine your footage. Now, if you think of layers where you stack up your layers, the merge tool basically allows you to stack up your footage. So let me give you an example. So as you can see, I have my clip already loaded into the timeline, and I haven't done any color space conversions here because I'm not sure about the color workflow here with DaVinci and Fusion. But here inside of Fusion, what I have done, I have assigned my lookup table, the gamut view, and I set it.
Refreshing watching a Fusion expert who's not an expert in DaVinci. So it's going to be interesting to see how, with what he knows from everything else, how he navigates this interface.
To output space as RGB. So to give you a real life example on how to use the merge, let me just go quickly through.
Okay, so the media generator up here.
This, and you do some keying action here. So I will use the delta keyer. I'm bringing a delta keyer and I branch out from our clip, bring it in here, and I will also drop in a clean plate node. These tools are new since Fusion 9. And first let me demonstrate to you what happens if I would use.
So the delta keyer is in the viewer?
The keyer only. So I would choose a color here, which.
Okay, even just that simple thing of choosing a color has stopped me a few times during my testing.
I don't know why this jiggles and wiggles like crazy.
No, neither do I.
Okay, so I picked the green color here. Forgive me my cheesy green screen. Don't take this as an example. And by hitting A, you can view the alpha. So this is basically how the result looks.
Okay, click A and view the alpha. Alright, so that's on the keyboard. Okay.
Right off the bat. And now I want to demonstrate to you how easy the process of keying is made using the clean plate node. Okay, so with the
clean plate node. Okay.
Clean plate selected, drag it into the viewport, and then again pick the background color. I choose the green, and I'm gonna erode this a little bit so that we get rid of all them bugs down there.
So that's the erode control inside of the inspector for the clear plate. Okay.
Something like that, and then simply check fill. Now this becomes
check fill right there. Okay.
Our clean plate, and if we now hook this clean plate into the delta keyer, you can see that we automatically get a much better key. With C, I switch back to the RGB view. And once again, you saw that I got this menu here. This you can.
Okay, that sub-menu thing I'll just be a bit more aware of next time when I go through and actually follow this inside of DaVinci. At the moment, I'm just trying to follow the video without diving into DaVinci.
Access by Alt releasing on a node. It will
Alt release on a node. Alt release on a node. Okay.
show you all the inputs you have available.
For all the inputs that I have available. Okay.
Okay, another very powerful tool that I want to talk about in another episode are the masks. If I would bring in a couple of masks here.
Okay, so we're talking about masks.
We have the rectangle mask, we have the ellipse mask, the polygon mask. Masking in Fusion is super awesome, but
it's great that he didn't say super easy. Okay, so I watched lots of videos that are super easy, and you get down to the click-by-click stage, and it ain't that easy.
Really requires its own chapter because there's so many things you can do with it, and so many things that you might encounter, especially when in doing real-life projects. But we're going to talk about the mask in another episode. For now, let's just take a mask, a poly mask, and I bring this in. I view the delta key here.
Okay, so delta key is still in the video.
And now I want to garbage mask the areas we don't need. So I will simply hook this polygon mask into the garbage mat. Now I will draw a mask around here. Very quick and dirty. You can see it disappeared. And now I will simply drag another mask in here. And I hook this into the other mask. And it automatically combines those masks. And I will draw my other mask. Bang.
Okay, so with the little keying I've done, the takeaway for me is the benefit of using two different nodes to take away, key out or mask out two different parts of an image. Okay, good to know.
So we have garbage masked our garbage.
That's called garbage masking. Okay.
Now let's continue with our merge action. So let's say we have this cheesy background here. Like cheesy backgrounds. Now I have to get used to the user interface here.
Yeah, you and me both, mate.
If you have seen my other video, you saw that I'm particularly unhappy about this space here. But yeah. So here we have this background. And now I will change the depth using a depth node.
Okay, that happened pretty fast for me. So he's brought down a depth, changing a depth mode. Well, I can't quite see what's in the view, which mode that is. For the inspector, I can't quite see what the active thing is. That's just one of the limitations. Oh, this looks like Media 2. And okay, I think I'll pick it up when I follow this in DaVinci.
I will set it to float 16, and I will also change the
Float 16, I have absolutely no idea what that means, but I may not need to know.
color space.
So color space is a new concept for me.
To sRGB, and now it will turn back to normal.
Okay, so now we've got gamut 1 in the viewer. Okay, that happened so fast I didn't see that gamut 1 node being pushed into the viewer. It may have got there some other way. I don't know.
So let me drop in a merge node already. So this is our merge node, and I will get rid of this here for now. And now I want to bring them brothers here together. So let's have a closer look at the merge node. You can.
I love the idea that he's bringing brothers together. Implies there's some kind of family and connection. Okay.
See, we have this yellow arrow and we have this green arrow, and there's another very lonely blue arrow down here. So the yellow triangle is labeled as background. The green one is the foreground and the blue one is the mask. You can see the background as the bottom layer and the green one as the top layer. If you want to be in the layer world, you can do so.
Okay, so that's great that Vito has pointed out those different those different parts of the node, that, you know, because as a learner and a newbie, when I'm in the middle of trying something out, you can get overwhelmed by something as simple as that. And I've just been kind of just randomly connecting something to something and letting DaVinci do it and do the thinking and everything for me. So it's good to have it pointed out what those different connections actually are.
But in Fusion, we refer to it as background and foreground. Now I will hook in the background image into the background. The first time you hook something into a merge node, it will automatically go into the background. Then we hook the foreground in.
Whoa, what did he just say? The first time. Let's see if I can get it again.
Image into the background. The first time you hook something into a merge node, it will automatically go into the background.
The first time you hook something into the merge node, it'll automatically go into the background. Okay, I'll pick that up in the Loom transcription a bit later. Okay, first time you pick it. Okay, I'll unpick that when I watch this back.
Then we hook the foreground in, and it will also automatically go into the foreground if you already have the background occupied.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, one thing I want to mention about nodal-based workflow is that you should try to keep your flow. By the way, this is called the flow. You should try to keep your flow like very flowing. You know, you should keep it like very tidy and organized, and make things easy to read for yourself, but also for your coworkers.
Absolutely.
So, for example, sometimes you might put the background nodes over here, and
I know it's really important to keep it organized, especially as a newbie. Because you can add a node and suddenly you can't remember what you're doing.
Foreground comes from the top. Another time you might put it from the bottom and the foreground from the left. I would recommend you to create your own habit, because this will enhance your workflow, or it will speed it up quite a bit. So for example, I like to have my background coming in from the left, and everything that is in the foreground on top of it comes from the top, and the masks from the bottom. Now you can choose what kind of workflow you want to have. Now that we have this merged together, if we view this, you can see we have a resolution mismatch here. Okay? So what I like to do when I have a resolution mismatch.
Resolution mismatch. Okay, I've just been through an exercise on that myself, so I'm very interested in what Vito's got to say about resolution mismatch. Because it was a pain. I got down into the Fusion end of things, and there's a resolution mismatch, and I went all the way back to the original images to match up the resolutions there, so that hopefully I'll bring in resolution matching images into DaVinci, and that in my preferences I'll have set up the same resolutions, so hopefully I don't have that mismatch one. But I could get it wrong one day, and so there's this mismatch part of it. It's very interesting to me.
Matches. I like to bring in a background node, and now I want to make sure that the background node has the resolution of the comp, which is automatically set if you have set it in the preferences. But I want to also make sure it's in where is it? It's a new user interface, so I need to take out my spyglass. I set it to.
I love the way he's navigating his way through a new interface. It's just great watching someone come from somewhere else and using his overall knowledge to navigate this particular piece of software. Let's go, Vito.
16-bit float, and now I make sure that the alpha is all the way down to 0. This makes sure that this image is empty. So I would.
Yay. Just being aware of that alpha channel and creating alpha channels and backgrounds. Yay.
Just use this as a container, sort of. Now we'll simply drag our background on top of this square box, and it will automatically merge them together. You can.
This is one of the things about Fusion, is some of the things that happen automatically in Windows and some of the things that don't happen, and remembering which ones do. Okay, so this is a new one for me, and another thing to pick up when I sit down and go through this video with DaVinci.
You can see that the background is right inside the background slot and the foreground is properly inside the foreground. And now we have the proper resolution. And what we can do now is we can bring in a transform node, and now we can move inside our domain. Okay, we can change the size and so on and so on.
If there's one node I'm relatively comfortable with, it's the transform one.
I will put this into the background slot. So now you have to make a decision. For example, if you can't come in from the left, then how do you rearrange this stuff? For example, you could do it like this. That's all your decision, my friend. Okay, so now we have our dirty foreground. I'm not gonna go like very deep into this. It's not a keying tutorial. Where is it? With all these new labels, it's so difficult to find.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're not going to do that because, you know, from this newbie's point of view, I'm not sure if you actually produce this for a newbie or intermediate or whoever. But from my point of view as a newbie, there's already a lot happening in this composition. So to be spared all this other stuff, as interesting as it is a godsend, because then I can keep my focus on what you're doing here. And what got me into this video was the Boolean node, and that's still on its way. So thanks for not taking us down that other track.
Clean foreground, for example, you can use the clean foreground. Now there are other parameters to tweak, but I don't want to go too deep into this now. So now we have this combined. The next thing I want to do is I want to add a light wrap. Now the light wrap, again, we use...
Yeah, I like that. Okay, this is why I'm glad you didn't take us down the keying deep end, because this is another mode. Okay, node, and we're probably a few nodes away. What are we up to? 10 minutes, halfway through the video. So I can bet there's more nodes to come.
Use our masks. I add 2 bitmap nodes. Now it might be a little confusing. Bitmap is really just a mask. It's basically a tool.
There's a concept. A bitmap is basically a mask. You'd think they'd call it a mask if that's what it was, but hey, this is DaVinci.
To derive masks from images or to combine your elliptical mask, polymask, rectangle mask, all kinds of masks. You can combine this using the bitmap mask. For example, let's say we want to create a light wrap from...
Okay, that was quite a deep statement there, that you could use the bitmap to combine these different masks. All right.
This foreground, I would simply hook into those 2 masks. And now I have 2 identical masks, and what I do now is I hook one into the other, but with the first one I will invert it and I will display the whole mask now, and now you can see we have this sort of outline here. Now what I do is I change the paint mode to multiply. This will multiply the first mask on top of the second, and hence we get this outline here. Now if you would take the soft edge here and increase that, it will bleed more into your foreground, something like that. Another thing to be aware of is the boundaries here, the clipping mode. So for example, this mask now, the clipping mode is set to none. If you will change this to frame, it will...
Okay, so that's how you get to the clipping mode in the bitmap inspector. Okay.
Fix the issue we have here. Okay, so this could be our light wrap. Additionally, you could take another bitmap mask. And as I said, you can derive masks from any image or output you have simply by choosing...
That's a pretty heavy statement, and I'll take a bit to digest that.
The channel that you want to derive from. For example, here I choose the luminance, and it will create a mask derived from the luminance of the image. Additionally, you can change the low and the high. I don't know how to call this, the range, perhaps. Okay, you can change this if you want. And now I could, for example, say where the background is black, I don't need a light wrap, or I don't need...
It's just one thing I'm noticing is like how quickly you can push a node into the viewer.
To be strong. So I will simply take another bitmap mask tool, hook our light wrap in here, into the yellow of course, and now I will multiply this one on top.
Okay, so I'm just seeing bitmap nodes, but he's talked about a light wrap. I'm not quite sure what the connection is.
Sort of like this, and you will see that it partially becomes darker. Okay, of course, because this is a light wrap, we want to blur this. So I bring in a blur node, and by shift clicking and dragging over the pipe, and
okay, shift click and drag over the pipe, shift click and drag over the pipe. So these little keyboard moves are, you know, just another detail for a learner to get hold of. Okay, shift click and move over the pipe.
Releasing, you can insert it. So I will blur this image quite a bit.
Okay.
And this is our light wrap. And now what do we...
This is the light wrap, okay. And what's in here at the moment is merge one, this guy here.
Do here? How do we finish the light wrap? So I will drop in a Boolean tool. Now you might ask,
Yay,
oh my god, this...
we're up to the Boolean tool. What made me click on this video in the first place was the Boolean node and the merge node, which I've had some experience with, but the Boolean mode, I've seen some demos of what it does, but I never remember when I sit down and jump into Fusion page. I don't remember when I dive into the trenches.
This looks like very technical. What is the Boolean tool? Boolean automatically sounds like math.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually it can be very simple, it can be very complex, but it can be also very simple. So for example,
Okay, I like that it can be very simple. Let's see how simple.
I use this channel Boolean mostly when I do the add and the multiply operations. Now, of course, there are other operations that I use, but I use it whenever I do add or multiply operations. I use the Boolean tool. Now, I see people...
Okay, I don't see subtract, but it doesn't matter. It's just that. It's just what I've been exposed to.
Using the merge tool to do these kind of operations, but there is a very tricky thing that you need to be very careful, which I'm going to show you right after I've finished up the light wrap. To create a light wrap, I hook the Boolean into the pipe of the foreground, and then I hook the blurred background image into the foreground of the Boolean tool.
Whoa.
And then something strange is going on here.
Whoa, okay. That's that is a lot to take in. Okay. So the good thing about I'm making a Loom video out of this, and so when I play it back, I'll just hit a comment on here so I can see it easier. But this is the kind of thing where, you know, an expert says something and it's plain as day to the expert, but to the newbie it goes, whoa, whoa, okay, whoa, whoa, keep going.
But as soon as we hook in our light wrap,
whoa,
the strange happening disappears. However, for some reason, the light wrap, this halo that we have here, doesn't seem to come through. Now, this is because in the channel Boolean, the 2 alpha has still alpha foreground in it. So it means it will take this alpha and it will add it to this alpha.
Whoa.
So this alpha here, which you see covers the whole image is...
So we have some kind of alpha madness going on. Okay.
At alpha 1 at the moment, and it will add it to our alpha of the background, this one here.
Oh.
Now this will even result in having alpha values above 1, which should be avoided. And you can also see I have some minus values in there. So this can be avoided. Let me see if I have...
Okay, so I can't see where these minus values are and these positive values are. Maybe it's just something he knows from what he's looking at.
The minus values also in here. Yeah, there were some minus values. So after the delta here, you can just bring in the brightness contrast and say clip blacks. That will get rid of the minus values. Minus values are really the bad boys and should be avoided at all times. Unless you're in a 3D workspace, there minus values can actually be very helpful. I wanted to say healthy. So here in the channel Boolean, to make our halo come back, we simply say alpha do not touch, and bang, here's our light wrap. So to clarify things a little bit more.
So we've gone from this to this. Okay. Just trying to find where we're at.
Not touch, and bang, here's our light wrap. So to clarify things a little bit more, I have prepared a small example here with the circle and the word swag. And we're going to see how actually this behaves when using a merge and when using a Boolean.
Okay.
Okay, so the merge seems to be correct. Everything.
Okay, so he's got a background. I can't see what that one is. He's got merge 3 in there. My screen's not showing me. It's not big enough. Okay, I'm going to have to go back and look at that. Alright. So merge 3, which is that guy, is in the viewer. I'm not sure what that guy is, but they'll tell us. So we got 2 backgrounds. Text 1, and I can't make out what that is. My useful eyes.
Okay, the alpha also seems to be okay. If we switch to the Boolean, you can see that the alpha contains only the word swag, and even the RGB contain only the word swag. Now this is simply because we are saying to put all channels from the foreground into the displayed channels. So this will result in only seeing the foreground image. Now the reason why the channel Boolean is somewhat a technical tool and very powerful is because you can decide what to actually do with the alpha. For example, here I could say, no, not the foreground alpha, I want the background alpha for whatever reasons. And then you can see that now, if we switch to the alpha, we have only the circle. Okay, and this can sometimes...
I'm not sure there how we switched to the alpha.
Be used for certain tricks. For example, here doing alpha multiply gets rid of all the pixels that contain the alpha values, because the alpha multiply will take the alpha value.
Okay, what was that guy? Oh, okay, it's the Boolean 2, which is what that one is. Okay.
Values that you have here. You can see it at the bottom again. It will take the alpha values, which are 0, despite having RGB values, and it will multiply those alpha.
Okay, so we've got to take on board alpha values and RGB values. Okay.
Alpha values with the RGB values, resulting in 0 or emptiness. Now here we had.
Okay. This is a lot going on, but keep going. And I'll come back and look at this part as this. I'll split this out from the rest of the video and just watch this on its own.
Solid alpha values, so they will remain. Now with the merge, it's a little different. The merge, I use it usually to do all these typical classic operations that we know from Photoshop. But you can see that there is no add.
Okay, so I don't know any. I've never used Photoshop, so this is all news to me.
In there. So the add is really just this alpha gain down. We get the same result as if we would set this to add and do nothing. Then we get the very same result. It's the alpha is the same. Now this is not wrong. There's no right or wrong. It's just tech.
To me, as a real newbie, one of the big takeaways is just being able to just move whatever node into the viewer.
Technically, from a technical point of view, this channel Boolean is probably the way to go when
Channel
it comes
Boolean.
to these operations that are in here. In this simple example, of course, it doesn't matter, but you will definitely encounter situations where you really want to do certain things to your channels, and then you will be very happy that there is the channel Boolean.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm gonna see you.
Alright.
My name is Vito. I'll see you soon. Until then.
Yeah, that was a smoking video. Smoking. You too. Okay, way to go.